If someone Googles the word differentiation, you could find hundreds of definitions. The way we can clearly define differentiation in a school setting is in a differentiated classroom, a student gets what they need when they need it. A teacher can differentiate in three main ways. Content, what do you want the students to know by the end of the class? Process, how will the students learn this content? And product, how will the students demonstrate what they have learned? This year, teachers have been focused during team meetings, data team meetings, and PLC days on designing lessons, strategies, activities, and assessments based on having a fully differentiated classroom. Teachers are now implementing these strategies in their classrooms and having success in reaching all levels of learners. The best part of this process is the positive impact it's having on our students. Students understand right when they walk into the room the clear expectations for learning and are now engaged in a variety of activities to show they are mastering both content and skills necessary to be successful in our school. Today, you will hear from teachers about the types of strategies they currently use and also get a glimpse into our classrooms to see the students engaging in these activities that are designed to enhance their individual learning experiences. Thank you and enjoy.
So when I think about differentiation in the classroom, the first thought that comes to my mind is a scene in The Outsiders. There's a scene when Ponyboy turns to Cherry and said, "Hey Cherry, look at the sunset." We both look at the same sunset. And that means in the story that even though they both come from different parts of town, they share the same sky. And in my classroom, it's similar. Even though the students have different abilities and backgrounds and experiences, they both share the same hopes and dreams. So when I blend the classroom together, I concentrate on the students' abilities, their experiences, and the backgrounds. And to make it successful, there's got to be a mutual, genuine trust. The teacher has to trust the students, and the students have to know the teacher trusts them.
Who else? Johnny, you can be the facilitator in that group. Okay. Now remember, a facilitator is not a dictator. You are a leader, and a leader doesn't say, "Go on." The leader says, "Come on."
Even though that in Josh, it was seemed to be like he's a cool guy, but he chose not to because that's not who he really is.
And by working together, they're much better able to communicate with one another. They learn to look at each other's faces.
How does he stay the same? Isaiah, do you have any ideas of how he stays the same?
And they engage in communication that is going to help them in careers versus a simple test and reading a book in a chair all day long.
Students meeting success on a standard may be in an enrichment group working on a challenging math problem or using MobyMax to work on their individual math goals, while another group will be with myself, a math tutor, or special education teacher if available. This group will be getting more direct instruction on the current content. And then talk as a group about what you can do, because you've got lots of work here. So try to talk to each other and see what you can come up with. What I like about this type of grouping is that the students fluctuate between groups because they are based on a particular standard. Students do not feel as though they are in a high group or a low group because they often have been in more than one group. This type of grouping focuses my instruction from the whole class to the individual and then back to the whole class.
Yeah, it's still a negative, so the temperature is still going down because it will never really stop.
It has allowed me to guide students to success without leaving them behind.
I believe that all students have the right to receive a highly challenging education in my room. So I teach the same high level of content to all my classes. But if I taught in a one-size-fits-all approach, believing that all students learn the same way and that all students should master content in the same time frame, I would be failing as a teacher who differentiates in the classroom. One of the first things I try to get across to my students early on in the school year is that it is okay to struggle in my class. Putting aside the science content for a few weeks at the start of the school year and truly getting to know my students as individuals, recognizing their strengths and weaknesses, and figuring out how each one of them learns the best way is probably the most important strategy I use in how I differentiate for my students.
Use them to identify the organs on the animal and plant cell diagrams in your live sheet.
One of the techniques I use in my classroom is science learning stations. Each station provides students with a set of tasks that focus on a specific skill or learning standard. Students work cooperatively to complete the tiered tasks, using their new knowledge to move onto more higher-level investigations. Each station incorporates a different skill or learning style that highlights the strengths of particular students in each grouping, putting the learning in the hands of the students, giving them more responsibilities and options on how to learn the content and how to assess their learning, creates a classroom where students want to be challenged and they want to learn.
Okay, so we're not independently working. We are discussing, because the main point is if you want to truly understand something, you need to discuss. Okay, so it should not be silent in here. From the first day of school, I pair the kids up in groups of 2, and from the groups of 2 we progress to groups of 4. Within each group of 4, there's a group leader. That group leader's responsibility is to facilitate the material and answer any questions from each member of the group. So instead of being codependent on me, the kids are codependent on each other, which in turn will help them in the real world. If they have any questions, they're going to be working with other people of their age rather than their teacher.
If you make 3 snowballs in a minute, how many would you what would it be?
This is just
I know we could use exponents for that, so.
because in a working environment, the kids will be working with their peers and need to collaborate with them instead of being dependent on their teacher.
Would be 20, or would it be the variable, which is x, as soon as the rate of change?
When I plan lessons, I try to give students opportunities for formative tasks to apply what they've been learning.
And I explained to you guys yesterday how that was going to be like a formative task, right? So we were using that because we want to apply what we've learned about reading those vibration graphs.
In class today, the students will be doing the snowball method, which will give them an opportunity to teach each other and share their knowledge. They'll go from a small group to a larger group.
We do a lot of different activities in my classroom to reach all learners, such as playing games, using a whole class speaking grade to encourage individuals to be accountable for continuously speaking in French. Of all the various things that we do in my classroom to reach all learners, I want to focus on my use of circles. I usually use circles on Mondays to do weekend shares, and I find that it's an activity that helps to create a comfortable community of learners within my classroom, while at the same time encouraging my students to take a risk and, of course, to speak French.
On Friday, on Vendredi, I had a hockey tournament.
They incorporate French at their appropriate level, of course.
And then on Jeudi, I got ready to go to a hockey tournament.
Why do you think we do circles? In my class, at least.
Because on the day of school, you told us like we are all teachers and all students at the same time, so we connect and share what happened if we need to share something to the class.
What else?